Welcome to the latest bite-sized Bible breakdowns. If you've been following this series, you know we've been walking through the Old Testament book by book, tracing how the stories have evolved over the centuries as the various books were being written. But in this episode, we hit a bit of a detour, a strange turn in the biblical timeline that invites us to ask, what happens when the same story is told differently? Let's talk about Chronicles. Let's start with the ordering of the books and how they differ between the Hebrew Bible and Christian Old Testament. In the Christian Old Testament, Chronicles shows up right after Kings. Seems logical, right? Kings ends with the Babylonian exile, Chronicles picks up from there and leads into Ezra and Nehemiah. But in the Hebrew Bible, Chronicles is the final book, the last word, so to speak. Why the shift? Because by the time early Christians were compiling their scriptures, the Hebrew canon had already been closed, so they reordered it to make the Old Testament flow directly into the New, setting the stage for Jesus. Let me illustrate. Malachi, the final book in the Christian Old Testament, ends with a prediction for a coming messenger and a warning that Elijah will return. Flip to Matthew chapter 3, and there's John the Baptist preaching in the wilderness, quoting Isaiah and being compared to Elijah. It's a clean narrative bridge intentionally created by the person who decided on the ordering of the Christian compilation. However, it was not just later Christians who took creative liberties, as the author of Chronicles made some of his own. It's kind of a historical remix, a retelling of earlier biblical events, mostly from Samuel and Kings, but through a new lens. As Yale biblical scholar John J. Collins puts it, the great bulk of the cases where he departs from the Deuteronomistic history can be explained by his theological and ideological preferences. Chronicles describes history as the author thought it should have been. It's not so much reporting events as it is reframing them with a theological agenda shaped by the Second Temple period. Let me give you the most critical example of this alternate history, the emergence of Satan as a proper character. In 2 Samuel 24:1, we're told that God was angry with Israel and incited David to take a census. But in 1 Chronicles 21:1, that same event is retold, only now it's Satan who provokes David. Why the shift? By the time Chronicles was written, Jewish theology had been grappling with monotheism for centuries. A single, all-powerful God made it harder to explain evil and misfortune. You couldn't just blame another deity anymore. So Satan steps in, not as God's agent, like in Job, but as an independent figure. This is the first time in the Hebrew Bible that Satan appears as a proper name, not Hassatan, the accuser, but Satan with a capital S. As Ray and Mobley put it, Satan becomes a theological coping mechanism, a way to keep God's hands clean while still explaining human suffering and moral failure. And there's a deeper reason this shift happens. Chronicles was written in the post-exilic period, after the Babylonian captivity. During that exile, Jews were exposed to Mesopotamian myths and Persian Zoroastrian dualism, ideas like cosmic good versus cosmic evil, light versus darkness, end times battles. These ideas seeped in, and so the theology evolved. Chronicles isn't just a rehash of old stories. It's a response to exile, to trauma, to foreign influence, and to the challenge of holding on to a monotheistic faith in a broken world. It's trying to preserve Israel's legacy while redefining it. So, next time someone tells you the Bible is one seamless narrative, remember Chronicles, a book that rewrote the past to make theological sense at the time of its creation. See you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Please check out the other videos on my channel if history is your thing, and see you next time.